shows and roads and something about traveling. I got nothing.
I know God's supposed to bless the broken ones. That's all I know. That is such I feel bad for even like mentioning the existence of that song. It is so nasty. It makes my skin crawl.
Well, I mean, as long as you're aware.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've been aware of the song many, many times.
Oh, no. I mean, aware of your mistake.
Oh, yeah. And I've also been aware of that many, many times. You know who doesn't have a lot of ass songs?
Yeah, I do. There's quite a few artists that don't have a lot of ass songs.
We've talked about a few of them, and I think that the way that you're serving it up, we're about to talk about some more.
I think we are. We're going to be talking about, and you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. We haven't even done the music. We're just trying to jump right into things. Let's let it simmer for a bit.
You had a chance there. You had a perfect chance. You did. You really did.
I did. But again, mistakes that are made by me.
Absolutely. Is why we're not going to make this mistake twice right here on the Fairly KickAss podcast.
Did you just stumble on the F because you forgot which podcast you were on again?
I have two that start with the same sound. It's not good.
I have no idea where we were.
Nothing happened. We were here the whole time. This isn't some weird time warp at all.
We were talking about the thing that we were talking about that we know and that you know because you just heard it. And we know it because we just said it.
What did we say?
We were probably talking about the episode that we're going to do.
I don't think we mentioned what we were about to do, though.
I was talking about chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggets are really, really good, though. I think our listeners would agree. Hit us up. We'll give you all the socials at the end of the show. Let us know what you think about chicken nuggets and not about any of the music things we're about to talk about because priorities.
Although I want to hear what they have to say about the music we're about to talk about too.
Oh, a correction. Talk about the music we're going to talk about and chicken nuggets. I think we can give both of them.
You know who I bet loves chicken nuggets?
Who is that, Jay?
Q-Tip and Phife Dawg.
I bet they do.
Because they're people, and people love chicken nuggets. Chicken nuggets are delightful.
There it is. That's not a hot take. That's a real take. But yes, we are doing a one-song episode here. We are going to dive into the entire discography of a specific artist, and we're going to pick one song, hence the name, that we feel is the very best song in that entire discography. And as Jay already alluded to, today's episode will be the legendary act featuring Q-Tip, featuring Phife Dawg, featuring Ali Shaheed Muhammad, featuring Jarobi White. Of course, we're talking about A Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah.
Soon to be inaugurated. As you listen to this episode in 4 days, I believe the ceremony is on Sunday, October 19th. Sorry, October 20th, I should say. So make sure to check that out. We will have the time and network for that ceremony as soon as I pull it up because I am very not prepared for this episode at all.
I want to say it's still on HBO.
I never knew it was on HBO in the first place. So that shows you how much I know. But yeah, obviously a very fitting honor for a group that has been at the forefront of hip hop music since their inception.
Yeah.
You know, revolutionary, I don't think that's a bridge too far to talk about A Tribe Called Quest, to say that they were one of the formative groups of hip hop, full stop. I don't think that's really a far cry either.
No, I think that's nail on the head territory.
Yeah, they had been doing it through the 90s and actually released an album as recent as 2016. I have a feeling we're going to touch on that entire range of discography from first album to the final 6th album, as I mentioned, in 2016, and everything in between.
Yeah, most likely.
Just to give you all kind of an idea of how this is going to go, we are going to go one by one. Each of us is going to get 2 minutes on the clock to make our case of what song we think is the best and why. The other two hosts will then tear that person down or will agree with them. I feel like it's probably 50-50 between tear down and agree. And when you're looking at a discography as littered with hit after hit, banger after banger, like A Tribe Called Quest is, I don't know that we're going to have a lot of true vehement disagreements. I think we might have quibbles here and there for sure. But in terms of like, there are very few bad songs in this catalog. Let's just be real.
Yeah. I don't think that like most of the time we do this, I can pick out like, okay, that's the wrong choice for this. Like you are wrong if you choose that song. I don't think there is one for this one. I don't think that we're going to get a lot of like vehement backlash for anything that we say.
Agreed.
Probably not. I think I have one opinion that might get a little bit of like, oh, really? But that's just it. I think that's just me. But that's about it. Like,
yeah, I could, yeah.
Well, with that said, I did get our batting order here behind the scenes. Dan, you are actually going to be playing first here on our game show. I will be going second, and Jay will be bringing up the rear in third.
Oh, okay.
Sounds good.
I was waiting for you to slaughter that order again, like you always do, just to annoy the shit out of me. But
the times there are changing, my friend. I've been watching the MLB playoffs. I understand the terminology. I know how the runs happen. I'm doing good.
Score a run goal unit.
Basket.
Yay. Sports is my favorite show. I do have your timer ready if you are ready.
I think I could do that.
Okay. 2 minutes coming, starting in 3, 2, 1. Go.
Well, as we agreed, it's not one of those references where there is no wrong one song. Because I think you're right. I agree there. That's all going to be right. But it's one of the rare instances for me where we do one of these one songs that I have an idea going in that, yes, this is my song. And then I listen to a bunch of stuff. And that song stays on top. Like it is just not dislodged. And while the song didn't change, the need to listen to a lot more Tribe did come through loud and clear. Is there another group that I thought I knew and then started listening deeper? And I need more of this now. Regardless, the chemistry between Q-Tip and Phife Dawg is absolutely undeniable and is one of the things that stands out about the group. I mean, that and the beats, of course. So where to look to find the best blend of those? The first place that my brain went to, Electric Relaxation. And while there are plenty of tracks that show just how potent a musical force the two of them are, Electric Relaxation is possibly the best beat that Q-Tip ever put together, anchored around that Mystic Brew sample. And this is, I mean, it's really, it's the peak of that jazz rap sound that they had elevated, especially on Midnight Marauders. Phife is at some of his lyrical best, and both of them let loose some of the most quotable lines of the era. And Let's Knock the Boots, like the group H-Town, will always be one of my favorites. And the best part of this whole thing is that the song is essentially a sex jam, but it has the aura of something bigger, something higher, something elevated, and that's a special achievement. But when it comes down to it, you'd be hard-pressed to find a smoother track in theirs or most anyone's catalog, which is why I would submit Electric Relaxation as A Tribe Called Quest's one song.
5 seconds to spare, like a professional. What can we say about this track? I mean, yeah, you said it all, and I think you said it well.
You did, and I do love the track. I think my only argument, and the reason it's not my one song, is because of its association with the Wayans Bros show on the WB.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here's the thing. I had learned that association while researching the song, so I was like, okay, whatever, and that's fine. It's fine.
It's not like it's not like it's the worst show that ever was produced, but it wasn't in living color, and that was a problem for me.
It's not like it was Wonderland or Wasteland.
Thank God.
But that's probably the only thing that knocked it down for me. Is not had nothing to do with the song itself, but the association I have with it.
Which says honestly a lot. That's like I said, like we're talking minor quibbles here.
Yeah.
And that's the best we can do. Is it was the theme song for a shit sitcom that had like 2 seasons.
Yeah. Right. And I feel like that's going to be a common response the next couple for your 2 songs too. It's like, you know what? I have such a minor quibble with the song when I didn't make it my number one that like, I didn't expect to okay. Maybe this is going into too much, but I didn't expect to have this much difficulty going into this because it's like, I could have picked like 10 of them and I could have made good cases easily for all 10 of them. So like, well, I guess I can't. This came to mind first, so let's give it a roll.
Well, the nice thing about that is we will be able to talk about those other 10 because we will have a little honorable mention segment after Jay and I get done with ours. So yeah, I'm very curious what ends up just outside of your top.
See, ladies and gentlemen, he's explaining how the show works to y'all, but he's also explaining it to me because I forget every time we do this.
It's a surprise, man.
That was supposed to be an inner monologue. Shit.
Cut that.
No.
Yeah, shout out H-Town as well.
Right. So I never forget that song is this song.
Well, I think I am up next.
Yeah, you're up next.
Okay. I've got my notes. Just need a clock and I can hit it.
Let me get your clock back here because I closed it for some reason. All right. Whenever you are ready,
Yeah.
you may start.
Jay, Dan, and KickAss Nation. For once, I feel good about a one song. I feel like there was a right choice to make, and I feel like I made it. Because, you see, I took all of the hallmarks of A Tribe Called Quest, all of the signatures, all of the things that made the group legendary, and I found the best balance of all of those things. We're talking hot samples, anchored by Ronnie Foster's amazing jazz track Mystic Brew. We're talking street poetry, as Q-Tip puts it, which is on par with any other track in the entire catalog. We're talking a fun back and forth with tons of chemistry between Q and his man Phife Dawg, who most definitely had something to say. Even more amazing that they were rapping each other's written lines, and it still sounded phenomenal. Of course, just as Dan was, I am talking about Electric Relaxation from the transcendent album Midnight Marauders. And like I said before, it's balance that puts it over the top. Some tracks had a lot going for them, but were a little too Q-Tip heavy. And that's nothing against the homie, because I do love Q-Tip, but I also love me some Phife Dawg, and I need that balance between the two. Some tracks had a great beat, but surprisingly whack lyrics. Like, these dudes were in a frenzy and a horny state, and sometimes that came off just a little bit heavy-handed for me. Very, very rarely the sample just didn't work. That admittedly hardly ever happened. But Electric Relaxation was the full package, the crown jewel in a discography with far, far, far more hits than misses. It's one of the group's most iconic songs for a reason, and certainly one that fans will fondly reminisce about as the group is being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a well-deserved honor for giants of the hip-hop scene. I apparently didn't write enough, so I cede the rest of my time.
It's okay. I forgot how to count in the middle of
that. You got lost.
You're
in the
at 30
verse.
and here's 5 fingers.
I figured it out.
You want deja vu? I could repeat what I said a minute ago.
No.
Verbatim, please. That's why I didn't have much to say to yours, Dan, because I think you did it better than I did, to be perfectly honest. It was just, I think it's just the quintessential A Tribe Called Quest track.
It is nearly a perfect song.
I like nearly because that means that you have a perfect song in mind.
Well, perfect might be a stretch, but I did pick a different song.
Whenever you are ready, I got a timer for you.
Tell me when.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So in my estimation, in order for a song to stand solo at the apex of a catalog like that of A Tribe Called Quest, it can't like just be any old track. It had to be a benchmark in the history of hip hop. It has to be like the epitome of their artistry and legacy. I think you agree with me because Electric Relaxation fits that mold as well. But I submit that Check the Rhyme stands as a definitive track that encapsulates the essence of the group and their monumental influence on the genre. As it was the first single from A Low End Theory, the song gave us a new look at an already established outfit. The impeccable production of Q-Tip and Ali includes probably my favorite sample that they ever used in Average White Band's Love Your Life. And the beat that goes with it is simultaneously laid back and engaging. It combines the funk and jazz elements of New Jack Swing with classic hip hop styles in a way that felt, at the time, familiar and fresh. That back and forth between, in the lyrics, that kept that conversational style that was present on the debut, but on the debut was largely Tip. This established Phife as an artist every bit as talented as Q-Tip. The give and take is seamless and showcases the chemistry that Dan mentioned and their distinctive lyrical skills. The verses are filled with clever wordplay, cultural references, insightful commentary, and all in a way that remains cool even 3 decades later. while a great deal of what I just said applies to nearly every song in their catalog, Check the Rhyme is the one that solidified them as a cultural icon. I yield back the remainder of my time.
Not super similar necessarily to Electric Relaxation, but definitely to the lyrical flow, and the call and response is very, very similar between the two, which is why this is another one of the very best tracks that they've done.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think they're two of the best instances where both guys they just have that balance as they fire back and forth. So both were featured perfectly.
It's probably why we couldn't, like, none of us picked something. I would actually be surprised if anything on our short list was from People's Instinctive Travels, because it's mostly Q-Tip.
Mm-hmm.
Which there's nothing wrong with that. That's a fantastic record, but it leaves out some of whatever Phife Dawg was able to do. He's barely visible on that record.
I think I had a honorable mention from every single album, which was just completely accidental.
I picked one from People's Travels as well, but not mostly because of the reference that it makes, not so much because of the track itself.
I'm excited to hear. For you listeners, we will tell you how to tell us which one of us is correct, or if you have a pick that is different than Check the Rhyme and different from Electric Relaxation. We're going to let you hear exactly how to do that here in just a few minutes. But before we get there, let's talk about, like Jay was mentioning, what just barely didn't make the cut. And Dan, we'll go ahead and kick it back over to you. What ended up on your honorable mentions list?
Like I said, a lot of stuff. Obviously, Check the Rhyme was up there. Several Jazz, We've Got It was there. Can I Kick It? Of course, that's going to be there. I mean, look, that horn sample. If it's it. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. And then the original mix of Scenario, because that one's hard to find. Steve Biko, Stir It Up.
Mm-hmm.
I had Oh My God. I did have Luck of Lucian. But to throw off your theory, Jay,
mm-hmm.
The song that was my 1B that almost I was like, I fearing that someone else might go with Electric Relaxation, I was going to try to make a case for the storytelling of I Left My Wallet in El Segundo and almost went with that one.
Right on. Right on.
He would have been my hero.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, good shit. Maybe besides I Left My Wallet in El Segundo, every other one is pieces. It's a fun song.
I like it. It doesn't. Is it their best song? Probably not. But I always enjoy it. It's fun. Like you said,
there's no flow in that song at all.
No, that's the point. It's just
them fucking around in the studio, and it just happened to hit wax.
That's exactly it. It's clear. Like that's what they're doing. Like you wouldn't be. I would if you went in and told me they were like, yeah, I just started talking into the mic, like I just made this story up right on its own. I'm like, oh, that totally makes sense. And not only did you make it to the record, but you put it out as your debut single.
Yeah.
That's strong. Strong move.
All right, Zach, how about yours?
Well, I had a couple of overlaps with what you had, Dan, but I'll mention a few other ones, including Verses of the Abstract from the Low End Theory, mainly because of the lyric, which is perhaps my favorite, A Tribe Called Quest lyric. The world is kind of cold and the rhythm is my blanket. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Several from We Got It From Here, Thank You For Your Service, which kind of surprised me. I admit that I had given that album a pass when it came out about 8 years ago now. Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. But the Elton John sample on Solid Wall of Sound, fabulous. Melatonin is a song that is titled exactly the way that it sounds, because that song is literal melatonin for your ears. It is beautiful. And I will also mention Once Again from Beats, Rhymes, and Light, because I don't think we've talked about that album yet.
Nope, we've kind of given that one a miss so far.
Mm. Jay, what just ended up on your cutting room floor?
My cutting room floor is fun because it basically, my favorite record is Low End Theory. So just throw that into the honorable mentions list. But if I had to pick another track that wasn't Check the Rhyme, I'd probably go with Scenario, because love me some Busta. But I also had I Left My Wallet in El Segundo on my list as my pick from that record. It's so great, and it's just like the reference to the. I mean, it's a classic TV show. That's where everything goes wrong, is in El Segundo. Anyway, and then I also had one from We Got It From Here. Thank You for Your Service. I went with the opening track, Space Program, because it's the first thing that hits you from that record, and it's like, you know what? It's been what, 18 years in between, something like that, like a long time in between things. They still got it. That track is fire. And it hits hard on the cultural awareness thing. It's probably my favorite track on that record for that reason. But yeah, those are the ones I picked for my honorable mentions.
Yeah, I definitely had a few very culturally strong tracks on that record. We the People was another one that was just a very good track, and a very good track for today's society too.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, Jay, that your favorite album altogether was the Low End Theory. Yeah. Dan, would you echo that, or did you have a different favorite album from your listening?
I think I could echo that, because as much as I think Midnight Marauders, God, it's hard to choose between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll stick with Low End Theory too. I think overall, I think that's a better work.
I think the production is cooler on Low End Theory than on Midnight Marauders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I it's hard to dispute that. I did love Midnight Marauders, and I did, again, unexpectedly love We Got It From Here. Thank You for Your Service. Yeah. I thought that was just going to be I don't want to say a cash grab, because I would absolutely grab all the cash I could if I was a music artist, but that album went in. I was floored at how good it was.
I would put it's at the bottom of my list of their records, only because I don't love all the guest features on it. Whereas I could see that. The stuff from the early 90s, even the guest features were hot.
Yeah, agreed. Either just not great artists, or artists that just didn't have good bars. I did notice that a few times.
Yeah. Nothing terrible, just not top notch.
Yeah, for sure. Conrad Tokyo was one that surprised me at how I did not like the featured artist at all, despite the fact that the featured artist is Kendrick Lamar.
Yep.
Or one of them. I think there are a few, but not fantastic, weirdly enough. But yeah, six albums, end to end, somewhere just under 100 tracks, if my counting is correct. So listeners, y'all can knock that out in an afternoon, and it is absolutely worth your time to listen to every single one of these tracks. The ones that we loved, the ones that we didn't cover, because that's the majority of the catalog. I do not think you'd be disappointed if you went through each and every one of these albums one at a time.
Nope.
Except for the Love Movement. You can skip that one. But the other 5. No, go through them all.
Come on.
It's part of it. Yeah. It's the whole picture.
I mean, it's literally like a Tribe Called Quest. You got to listen to the whole thing.
I'm so happy, because I totally forgot. The whole week I was thinking, I've got to make that joke. I've got to get that in. And I forgot about it.
I mean, I was just shocked we got this far into the show and no one has tried to shoehorn that in anywhere. So I figured, look, if you're going to leave the opening, I'm going to plunge through the A gap like that.
It was perfect.
You play your role well, Dan.
I am a change of pace back, to say the least.
And you got to say that the whole thing, just like,
yes.
Well, just as Dan plays his role well, listeners, we need you to play your role as well. We need you to tell us where we went wrong. Were we good with our one song picks? Were our honorable mentions on point? Are there tracks that we just glossed over, maybe that we didn't give enough time to, enough shine to, that you felt were really deserving of that honor? Let us know in all of the usual ways, at Fairly KickAss on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. fairlykickass.com. You will find all of our one songs, as well as all of our honorable mentions, on our ride along playlist that will go out with this episode. By the way, this episode that you're listening to right now is available wherever you get your podcasts, literally anywhere you get your podcasts. If there's somewhere you get your podcasts that we are not, let us know, and we will make sure to rectify that and get there so you can get us literally everywhere that you get your podcasts. fairlykickass@gmail.com as well for any email correspondence if you wanted to keep it a little more private. I don't know why you would. Just put it in the social media. Unless you want to give us money, then probably email it to us.
You can email money?
I hope so. Otherwise, we're all going to be pretty disappointed. With that said, boys, any closing thoughts for the people?
None now.
No, I can't emphasize enough how much this catalog, A Tribe Called Quest catalog, shaped my view of hip hop and what I'm into and what I still listen to today and what I enjoy. So if you're not familiar with it, make yourself familiar with it because it's beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's the message. Go listen to their records, period. Just do it.
100%. Saturday, October 19th, by the way, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific for the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. That is going to stream on Disney+. Go check it out. ABC is going to air a primetime special on January 1st. That will wrap things up as well. But yeah, enjoy that. Enjoy the music. And we hope you enjoyed this episode.